Hey Pac, are we online?
Hello and welcome to another video. This is going to be a very different video to anything that I put out before. There's not a safety topic or anything in particular regulations wise that I'm going to cover. This is a channel update to kind of tell you where it is, where hopefully it's going, some of the challenges that maybe explain a little bit of the missteps that I've had in especially the editing process. So this will be a bit more unpolished, assuming you thought anything that I've made up until this point has been actually polished. So if you've made it past the 30-second mark, maybe you're willing to go a little bit further. Without further ado, we'll cue the new intro, or the new intro. We'll talk a little bit about some of the challenges that I've faced with audio as we move through the video. But for now, we'll cue the music, and I'll see you on the other side. So first, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that's tuned in over the last 10 months to this channel. Whether you liked it, you didn't like it, you watched for 5 minutes, 5 seconds, or 3 hours. I really do appreciate it. I really didn't think that I'd be at 245 subscribers just 10 months in, and being 5 subscribers away from the halfway mark towards the 500 required to actually become a partner with YouTube is a bit more than I probably could have ever asked for after only 10 months. One of my main goals with this channel was to try and make safety a topic that people might actually enjoy hearing about. Which brings me to the part of the title of this video that may have made you click on this in the first place. The survival game DayZ. I was actually going to go into a pretty granular video about this game and how analogous it is to safety topics, in particular personal protective equipment around Halloween, since it's a zombie survival game and, you know, spooky and topical and all that stuff. But it just didn't happen. So I thought I would highlight it here in this video briefly before getting into kind of the meat and potatoes of what the remainder of this video will be about. Because if you set out to create a safety training game or piece of software that was substantial, realistic, and engaging, I don't think you'd be able to make one better than this. If you're already familiar with the game and you want to just kind of skip to the next heading, I understand that. But as a little bit of background on the game, it's a pretty standard survival game. You literally start with pretty much nothing. A piece of fruit, a glow stick, and a couple of bandages, and that's it. Then the goal of the game is pretty much to just survive, both against zombies in the world and other players. One of the first things that makes this very compelling as a safety training tool is that there's permadeath. You create your character, that character lives until it dies, and once it dies, you start off again with nothing. So to a degree, the stakes are the same as in real life. I don't generally play for the PvP aspect of it. I'm very much the kind of person that just likes to see how long I can survive. My goal when I start to play this game is to live as long as possible. So how you do that is by exploring the world, picking up different equipment, tools, weapons to defend yourself against other players, zombies, and the environment itself. Matter of fact, one of the first injuries my first character sustained in the game was a laceration from sliding down a set of fixed ladders from top of a building. So that's how granular this game gets. If that cut's not properly treated and disinfected, you'll end up with a blood infection, and then you start to lose health because of that. If you're out in the weather for too long and it rains and you're running around in soaked clothing, that affects you. You end up getting a cold, a different kind of illness that requires different treatment. It's even that granular to the point that the types of food that you eat will affect your health in different ways. You have to purify water. There's just a plethora of things I can go into about this game that shows how realistic the developers intended to make it and how they accidentally created a safety simulator. Heck, they even went so far as to simulate the condensation that builds up in a respirator under different atmospheric circumstances. For instance, if you're wearing a respirator in clear skies and perfect weather, you're not going to have a lot of condensation build up. But if it's pouring down raining and you're running around like a madman, you're going to have so much condensation through the visor of that respirator that you might not be able to see what's going on outside. I'm just going to let this footage play in the background as I finish off this video. But I have been toying around a little bit with the idea of potentially live streaming this game with the intent of showing off some of the ways that it really can emphasize very directly a lot of safety topics. Of course, I would never expect any company to set aside time for people to play video games while they're on the clock, but it's a fairly comprehensive way, if people are into this sort of thing, to get them thinking about safety from a different perspective. But enough about that for the moment. I'm going to let this footage play in the background because A, I recorded it and I'd really like to use it, and B, you can make fun of my gameplay as I talk. So if you've watched all my other content, or even some of my other content, I'm pretty sure it's obvious that I'm an individual creator. I'm writing the scripts, I'm coming up with the video concepts, I'm doing all the editing, everything from start to finish. One of the biggest problems that I've had from a technical standpoint is audio pickup. That has been very widely ranging in its quality since the very first video. I'm pretty good at output quality through like speakers and stereo systems. I've done that as a hobby most of my life. Audio pickup though is a completely different matter. It's taken me a lot of time to figure out how to negate things like background noise, the computer fans, which I think weirdly in this video, I've finally found a pickup method that I can actually record sitting next to my editing PC, which is going to end up being a huge time saver and allow me to do re-records, especially for voiceover stuff, live as I'm editing. I also don't have a proper recording studio. Obviously, this is something I'm doing out of my home. So recording voiceover took an inordinate amount of time because even if I did get the line right and delivered it in a way that I was happy with, inevitably there would be something from 2 miles away, a dump truck would drive by and there'd be some bleed through from that. In fact, I'm sure if you listen closely or at a high enough volume to especially some of my older videos, you're definitely going to hear dogs barking and a lot of ambient noise, which bothers the living crap out of me. Especially when some of those background issues aren't apparent until you've actually done your final edit, and going back to redo it would literally break every bit of editing you've done to that point. This is certainly not a problem unique to me. I think everybody that's ever tried to make a video for the first time has had trouble with audio. Video editing certainly is also its own challenge and its own set of learning curves. And starting out, I was familiar with Adobe Premiere Pro from a previous work experience, but that software certainly isn't free and is, in my opinion, exorbitantly expensive for a license, especially if you suite it with all of the other relevant Adobe products. And this channel has no budget. My first few videos were actually edited and even the voiceover recorded in Microsoft Clipchamp. And if anybody out there has used Microsoft Clipchamp, first, I'd be surprised. And second, it's not the most powerful piece of software and doesn't have a lot of stuff in it that you really need to make a good high quality video. And it took me a while to find the software that I'm using now that I 100% endorse and love, even though it's certainly not sponsored, DaVinci Resolve. So up until this video, I was using DaVinci Resolve and Audacity in concert with each other to create obviously Audacity for the voiceover tracks and then DaVinci Resolve for putting it all together into the form that you guys end up seeing on YouTube. Matter of fact, I was actually using two completely different computers. The voiceover recording I was doing was on a fanless computer, and there were certainly some software and hardware capability issues with that, so that was a challenge to say the least. Not to mention, it was a completely different piece of equipment, so I had to take the voiceover, record it, transfer it to the other computer to actually do the editing. So if something went wrong with the voiceover, I mispronounced a word, or there was some pretty heavy background noise that I didn't pick up in the headphones when I was recording it, it was kind of a production to actually re-record that. But as I've gotten more educated and comfortable with DaVinci, I've now, as of this video, moved my voiceover recording right into DaVinci Resolve. As you may or may not imagine, that's going to make the whole process of recording and creating these videos a ton more user-friendly. So I've already been rambling along here a lot longer than I probably anticipated that I would. I usually can't listen to myself talk for this long, especially since I lost the use of one of my vocal cords. So if you wonder why sometimes my voice sounds very strange and it drops off suddenly, wonder no more, and keep in mind that that was the best take. Matter of fact, if you're watching this video, I'm surprised that you were even shown it at all. The channel's not yet ad eligible, and if you have seen ads on my videos in the past, I know that there was at least one video, and if you look up the one that got the most views, that's the video, that was briefly ad eligible based on the legs that it had at the time, especially for its first 24 hours. First 24 hours of any video are key. I knew when I started the channel I was going to have a little bit of a hard time finding the audience out there in YouTube land. Their algorithm really, I think, doesn't know exactly what to do with this content or who may want to watch it, but it really doesn't know that for any channel or any video until it's published. But professionally, I have a hard time getting people to go to safety training even when they're being paid for it. So the fact that YouTube doesn't heavily push this channel, with as small as it is not super surprising. My impressions I've seen, though, in the last few weeks drop significantly based on the holiday season. They're really trying to get their ad-eligible content out there as much as they possibly can. So make sure you get your Ridge wallet and your bearskin tactical hoodie before they run out of them. The one thing I'm trying not to do with this channel is just chase trends. And that doesn't really help with the algorithm too much, especially for a fledgling channel like this. So the content has evolved as the channel has existed over the past 10 months. What the channel is turning into is much broader than what my original thought for it was. Heck, I've even said outright to people in in-person training sessions that I've had that if you really want to take a nap, go read CFR 1910. But I believe this for pretty much my entire career as a working person. Safety isn't in CFR 1910. The regulations are certainly important, but they're not nearly as important as the 1,000 little decisions that each of us makes throughout any day, whether it be at work, home, school, vacation, whatever. Safety is a mindset, and it's a mindset that we all share, even if you don't actively think about it all that often. So with this channel, I'd like to share some of my experiences that I've had with safety, both personally, myself, and as a safety professional that affect people's lives every single day. I appreciate you sticking with me this long. This certainly isn't the slickest video I've ever produced. It probably isn't the worst, but it's definitely not the slickest video I've ever produced. But in this video, I wanted to kind of give you a little bit more of a casual look at the person behind the videos that maybe you have watched, maybe you will watch, or maybe you'll never watch. Let's try to get an idea as to where I'm coming from with the channel. As I see it, if the videos that this channel produces helps one person one time, it was worth it. And that's where you come in. As YouTube runs primarily on engagement, this channel runs primarily on feedback. Likes, dislikes, comments, and shares certainly help the channel with the YouTube algorithms, but moreover, they help me create better videos for you. Even just taking 1 second to click the like or dislike button for a video really helps me know if I'm on the right train track, so to speak. And comments are invaluable, positive and negative. So as I said in the beginning, this video has no script, and I'm here at over 12 minutes now on my timeline, and I'm not really sure how to end it. And this is why I spend so much time writing scripts for most of my other content. So I hope everyone has a happy and safe Thanksgiving. If you're outside the US, have a happy and safe Thursday, I guess. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, share, all that fun stuff for the algorithm. And I'll see you next time on the next video.